Thanks, folks. We are back, day 2 of Cheltenham this time. And Dan, you're still with us.
Yep, hanging on in there. Obviously, I've even got the same clothes on as episode 1. So I've really gone for consistency. In case. Obviously, these was recorded a completely different day as well. So you'll never know.
It's don't be telling folks that. They'll think we're very unhygienic.
No, they'll just judge me. Oh, well, actually, they probably noticed all of you guys as well. Yeah.
Hey,
no, it's just for the consistency for the video. That's commitment to a cause, mate. That's nothing to do with hygiene. That's just commitment to your craft.
Dean, I'm surprised you didn't get knocked out there when you went down, though.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Ryan.
No
Thanks,
bother.
Africa all the way. Or Sri Lanka.
Thanks, Sri Lanka,
yeah. Your dodgy phone call.
Right, we'll start into it, boys. The Ballymore. What do you fancy in 3-horse race? Definitely. Yeah.
Give or take.
I'll take the nods. Yes for me anyway.
Start you it off and explain this then.
Explain it, right. Well, you have Brave Man's Game, you have Bob Ollinger, and you have Guyard Manil, and you have nothing else. That's the way I'm going to put it. Brave Man's Game being compared to Denman by Paul Nichols, Harry Cobden. Megan Nichols last year came out, said it was one to be watching for this year, and surely enough, it's turned into an absolute monster. He's going down the exact same route as Denman. Won grade 1 last time by 10 lengths. Can't fault it. I was fairly impressed with that. Bob Ollinger at 92, Henry de Bromhead. We've talked to Henry about this. If you want to check that out, be sure to go back a video or two. Nicely plugged though. Bob Ollinger's only defeat over hurdles though was to Fernie Hollow, who's only ran once this year. Fernie Hollow obviously won last year's champion bumper and was the only one to beat Bob Ollinger over hurdles this year. Then who else have you? You've Guyard Manil, who Dean, Alan, you both know I've been overly keen on all year.
It's your love child. It's your love child.
Has been before it even won its first race.
Yeah.
Although it got called a nag by a certain someone. Will not mention any names, but I disagreed entirely with that, and they definitely rub it in their face after it won by how many lengths? 15, 20?
No idea.
Easy as you like. Then obviously went and won that grade 1 there 2 weeks ago, and he's been very impressive. Definitely deserves the 5-2 price tag that he's on. For me, I'd nearly rule out Bob Ollinger, to be honest. I put it between Brave Man's Game and Guyard Manil, and I really can't decide between the two of them. I know I should. My heart's saying Guyard Manil, my head's saying Brave Man's Game.
That's a brave call that you would nearly rule out Bob Ollinger, because I would nearly rule out Gallard Manil and take Bob Ollinger and Brave Man's Game, because Bob Ollinger has been serious impressive, and as you say, only beaten by Fernie Hollow, who has subsequently got injured and has missed the rest of the season. Was well fancied. Last year's champion bumper winner, as you say. Bob Ollinger's there, 92. We got it confirmed on the other one with Henry, where he was going, what the plan was. Brave Man's Game, as you say, lots to like about him. Has been serious impressive. I'm like you, but I've gone for Brave Man's Game. And if I was to have a bet on the day, if Bob Ollinger drafted a bit, I would take him as well.
Yeah, to be honest, I just can't. I definitely won't be betting on this race. I just can't split them.
Yeah, it's a hard race to split.
Yeah, I really can't split them, and they're all so close in the market together as well. It'll be really interesting to see who gets the big market move. Alan, go straight to you.
Yeah, going in. I'm actually very strong on Bob Ollinger. I've watched his race back, the Lawlerton Ace. Like, I went into that race very, very sweet and Blue Lord. Blue Lord pulled far too hard. But Bob Ollinger really, really, really impressed. He put him in his place. He galloped all the way to the lane. Like, I think there's plenty more improvement to come. Like, yeah, I was impressed with Gayard de Manil and Brave Man's Game. But the 4-1, 9-2, you could probably go into this having a nice each way, maybe if he drifts a little bit more, as Dean said. But Bob Ollinger for me.
And
Yep. I'm in agreement there. I'm Team Bollinger. As you say, his only defeat came to Fernie Hollow, and I think in an alternate world where he stayed sound, you're probably saying he was beaten by the supreme novice hurdle favourite and appreciated his place as in that race is only there because Fernie Hollow got injured. We appreciated probably sound to step up in trip. A lot to like about Bollinger. I wasn't necessarily blown away by his Laws of Nace win at the time. I think I tweeted something like, "Let's just calm down. Blue Lord pulled too hard. It looked quite slowly run." Looked it back a few times and have since been quite impressed with how polished he was, despite not often always looking the most like consummate performer. But a lot to like about him, and he'd be my pick at the moment. Brayman's Game is a horse I absolutely love. I put him up in a horse to follow list at the start of the season for horses that didn't win last term, and he's been so impressive. Really, he's defied anything I thought. I thought they'd take it a bit easier on him, to be honest, with a view to chasing next year. His winning the Challow was great, but 16 Challow winners have lined up in the Ballymore and none have won, including Denman, who was second. It's one of those races where you often get good performers and they just fall a bit short. Paul Nicholls hasn't won it either, so that would be enough to put me off just from a trend perspective. I do think it'll be a smashing chaser, though. And Gillard de Manil, I think he just beat a bunch of stayers last time. Was he good? Absolutely, but he beat a bunch of horses who were either going to be Ballymore bound or not going to run again this season. I don't necessarily think the stayers are up to an extremely high standard. So did he do it well? Yes. But at this stage, I think Bob Bollinger would be my selection.
I will make one bold claim.
Oh.
And this could be bold. I think Bob Bollinger will win the Arkle next year.
So he's written off for the Ballymore, but he's the Arkle winner.
But he's going to, yeah. That's it.
Can you get a request a bet on that one? Not to place in the Ballymore, but to win the Arkle. That would be great.
Not to win the Ballymore, but to win the Arkle next year. That is.
If he shows enough speed to win an Arkle next year, I'll be very, very surprised.
Who do you think's going to win the Arkle next year?
Welcome to the 2022 preview.
Oh, Christ.
Tell you that next year.
That's yeah. Well, that's provided you come on next year. Even you're alive next year. COVID might catch it.
Jesus. All right,
yeah, is that everyone covered then for the first race?
I think so.
Let's move on before I cause any more controversy. The Brian Advisory.
That haircut's gone to your head.
Yeah, it really has. It's exposing the brain.
They cut too deep.
Yeah. I think I actually hit like some sort of lobe or something.
Oh, fuck.
Right. Brian Advisory plate. I can promise you though, for day 3, I will have longer hair.
And different clothes.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, Monkfish for Brian Advisory. Can anyone beat it?
I don't think so. Not in my view. Like, this sounds silly, like, in a way, but whenever you look at the price of Monkfish and NY Allen now, both of them are 5 to 6. They're probably not a backable price for your average punter. But there's people out there that's taking that price about them two in a double all day long, because come the day, the two of them is going to be 1 to 3, 1 to 4, 1 to 5, because half of what's lined up or is in the betting at the minute won't run in them races, and that is a great value for big punters. Even now, like, they've probably taken better prices than that at before, but even now, that's still big price.
For me, Monkfish is, without question, the banker of the festival.
I think so.
You think so too?
Yeah.
Alan, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. But like, as Dean said, is he backable? Like, unless you're putting him, he's probably a certainty to go into most multiples on the week. The one that probably just stands out for me, I'd be looking into betting without market. At Cladoria. We actually questioned Henry de Bromhead on this, and he was very impressed with what he's seen this season. Like, I've seen maybe a bit of 4 to 1 without. I'd be happy enough to take that. I wouldn't maybe look at the place market. He could be the one that'll jump well and might just stay with Monkfish.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have the same opinion, to be fair. I love Eclat de Rire as a horse. I think he's just such a consummate professional for someone so inexperienced. Like his chase debut, obviously he beat Schoolboy Hours, who I thought would probably have won the Kim Muir had he been entered. To do that on his first start of the season, conceding experience, and the way he did it was brilliant. And then obviously won the graded race next time out. I think he's going to be the one that just kind of goes from the front and makes this a test. Like he's not going to let up in his jumping, which I think is going to put the likes of the Big Breakaway under extreme pressure, and also Sporting John, who I think is looking like more likely to go here. I don't think they're going to jump well enough to necessarily be competitive. I think Monkfish is going to be extremely tough to beat, but yeah, I think Eclat de Rire is the one I can see kind of taking him along for a fair while and just kind of plugging on into a place.
Yeah, I think Eclat de Rire will be fairly short, if that makes sense. Definitely won't be 14-1.
On the day?
I'd say, yeah, on the day. I'd say maybe 4 or 5-1 tops.
I hope so. I've got 33s.
Jesus.
Yeah, I bagged him for it after his chase debut. I put it up on the series I do with Willow. He was my first one, probably the only good one at this stage as well. But so that's why potentially I'm more keen on him than I probably should be. But no, I love the horse.
Yeah, he'll struggle to beat Monkfish. There's no question
definitely.
about that. No question about that. But you mentioned the Big Breakaway, though. I was very impressed with him at the start of the season. And how quickly downhill has he gone?
Oh,
I took 6-1 on him for this race. What I see now, he's
Value.
definitely a lot bigger than that.
14?
16s maybe.
14s.
Yeah.
I thought I was getting ridiculous value at 6-1. I was like, Jesus, this is great. And then his next race, I was like, oh, heel.
Yeah,
But
Exeter, wasn't it?
His second race was at Exeter over way shorter, like, which probably could excuse him a little bit there. Like. There was no excuses last time out. There couldn't have been any excuses last time out. Not in my eyes, anyway.
He was due to run the Reynoldstown as well, and missed that. I think because he got pushed back a week. He obviously lost to Chamblou, who's a good horse, not exceptional, but he just can't jump well enough under pressure for my mind. He's just not. His mind doesn't seem to be on the game enough, and he's not going to get away with that with the likes of Monkfish and Eclat de Rire kind of going about their business out in front. And yeah, he wouldn't be for me at all.
Just I'm looking at the market here for that race with Bet 365. They've Monkfish in there 5-6. Then you've got Royal Pagal, Next Destination, Eclat de Rire then is fourth in the market at 14s. Latest exhibition, they kind of have says that they're going to try and avoid bumping on the Monkfish again, so more likely not going to go. Big Breakaway, Sporting John, Galvin, Pensacola Lead, remastered, the pipe horse from the other day. Like, if you're looking outside of the favourite, there is. If you know something's going, there definitely is each way value in it. And as Henry did say, I think this was kind of the where they were siding for this one, or with Eclat de Rire. Like, so 14 is a big price.
Yeah, this race could cut up quite a lot. Obviously, you get free places as well at the moment. So 14-1. I mean, obviously, got to beat Monkfish, but yeah, 14s wouldn't be the worst bet in the world each way at the moment, given you're guaranteed you're going to get free places, and there might only be 6-7 runners come the day.
Yeah, and I just think just with just in the betting without market, as we talked about, the race is going to cut up. If you're happy to take maybe 4s now, like winner come second in Monkfish, I'd say that'll be a lot shorter. It could be 5-6s on the day. So 4s without could look better value.
Big time. He'd be even money probably to win without Monkfish on the day.
Yeah.
If not sure. We'll move on to the Coral Cup, lads. For me, right, here we go. Great White Shark.
What a surprise.
Was turned to Martin Pipe last year. Ran unbelievable ride by Donny McNerney. Gave Great White Shark an absolute peach. Then did win the Cesarewitch this year. We're not going to talk about Gowran last time. We'll just not talk about it. I did think she would go to the Mares. She still has an entry into the Mares, but I think the Coral Cup will be more suitable. And I do think Cheltenham is her course. Cheltenham and Galway are where she performs. And obviously on the flat too. She likes the flat. But has there ever been a Cesarewitch winner that's won at Cheltenham the same year?
No idea.
Beyond my knowledge.
Good question.
There we go.
And there probably won't be again this year.
No, there definitely will. Banker of the best with 100%.
Blue monkfish.
No.
Change
Monkfish and great white shark here. Double. Quickfire double. Beautiful.
Like I'm keen on the shunter wherever he goes. I know he's got a couple of entries there. Like I just think he was impressive enough winning at Cheltenham. Now he had a spin out over fences then at the Dublin Racing Festival, keeps him on a nice mark over hurdles, and got a nice run around and everything fell nice. Hammer Alpha Mix. I think Alpha Mix was pretty okay too. Like, has probably one of these big handicaps on when everything clicks. I think 16s and 20s. Just the bigger prices. Handicaps are the lottery really. Like, it depends what JP, which one of JP's comes for money on the day or whatever. Like, they really are up in the air.
Yeah, I'm actually very sweet in one each way here now. It looks like it's going to go a horse called Barn of the Dawn. This horse actually beat Damalisk in Naas, and Damalisk followed up next time out for Eddie Harty. Damalisk was on my radar for Cheltenham as well, and doesn't look like it's going to go now. Barn of the Dawn has actually transferred to David Bridgewater. Very interesting that he's gone there now, and it seemed to have the Coral Cup as its aim. Seen in around 16-1. I think that form from Naas is going to work out, and he looks a solid each way play.
Dan.
Just looking at the shunter actually, because I thought he had a load of entries. Yeah, he's entered in everything: Coral Cup, Grand Annual, Paddy Power Plate, County Hurdle, and Martin Pipe all covered. And interestingly, he's entered in Kelso in the coming weekend over hurdles, so potentially looking for a mark to see where they're at with him. Obviously, won in England early in the season, and he might even need the hike to get into the Coral Cup based on previous runnings. The horse I liked for this a few weeks ago was Janadil, coming back up from over fences. Who's fifth in the Albert Bartlett reads well, but he's not even entered. So that ruined my dreams before they even started. And to be honest, I've been struggling with this race ever since. So if I was forced at the moment, I'd probably go with Craig Niche for Nicky Henderson. He's a leading trainer in this race. He's won it 4 times since 2010. He's very lightly raced still and won a handicap impressively last time out. It'll be right at the bottom of the weights. Hey, look, it's not a confident selection by any means, and I'm kind of just going with it for the trainer's record and his lightly raced profile. It's one of those where I think the Coral Cup might be one of the tougher races of the week because you get a lot of decent horses line up, and not one I'd be overly confident in at the moment.
Yeah, I thought you would change my mind. You haven't. Great White Sharks won that.
We were never going to change your mind.
No, really, you weren't. We'll move on to the Champion Chase. What we have here, I actually found something. Paddy Power are offering 20 for Bouvard Dare to win the Champion Chase. I know, Dean, that was my face when I seen it too.
20 all over again.
Yeah, look, can we really look past Chacun Poursuit? Possibly. But Chacun Poursuit did beat a fairly good field in the Dublin Chase and did beat Put the Kettle On before that at Laverstown too. 10 to 11, it's too short for me though. And I am going to say Altior is going to get back to his best and win here.
Yeah. I like Put the Kettle On. Always have kind of liked her. I put her up last year, 25s for Darkle. Chatting with Henry, this is where they're going, or this is where they're siding. Near enough, they had to talk with the owners, and it's all bar signed on the dotted line that this is where they're going. The top, like you look at her record there, she's 3 for 3 around Cheltenham. She has a good record on at Cheltenham at the track, and like Shaq and Pessoir didn't go last year to Cheltenham. Something happened or whatever. But like, for a horse that likes Cheltenham, that's been there, won an Arkle, 14-1, big price. In my mind, anyway.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with you. In fairness, where have Alan and Dan gone?
I'm still here. You
I've
can't get
lost
rid of me that
all the
easily.
visuals.
See, I can
All I
still
can
see
see
everyone.
Deed's face now.
You poor man.
Yeah, I know.
Is that your Sri Lankan buddies calling you again, Ryan?
Huh?
Is that your Sri Lankan buddies calling you again, though?
Yeah, they're saving me from this, from me making more controversial fucking opinions.
Just
but
another thing on Put the Kettle On, like when we were talking to Henry, like he was going to Kempton on Boxing Day for a race, and he thought that Leopardstown wouldn't play to her strength anyway. So like I wasn't surprised to see her not feature in the finish as such there, and like the horse loves to run fresh, so put her away. Turn up here, buck out in front. Adios.
Yeah, in fairness, Henry did say Put Cattle On never liked Leopardstown, ever.
Yeah.
So we may write that race off against Jack Umber 12.
You could
We'll
draw
line
things
through
to it, definitely.
Yeah. Like you said, 3 from 3 at Cheltenham was very impressive this year. Who did he beat? Who was it? She. My mistake.
She beat, I'll tell you now, Duke de Nivra, Riders on the Storm, Defi de Soy.
Defi de Soy, that's the one.
Well, Defi de Soy was pulled up in the race, like so.
Yeah. Still bet him, though.
She did?
Bet him last year, didn't she?
She won the Arkle, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just going to move on to Alan quickly because I've just made a mess of this.
Well,
Bloopers episode.
It'll be short and sweet, lads, in the champion chase. Shaq and Persois, and I would say it's by how far.
All right.
Yeah, I can't really go too far against that. I think the one doubt people had potentially was he going to be a true stout finisher up the hill at Cheltenham? I think he proved last time out that he has the ability to finish his race off, no problems. I do see the angle we Put the Kettle On. I do think she'll get closer. I don't think she ran terribly behind him last time, but Cheltenham clearly plays to her strengths. She'd be the one I'd have to place behind Shaq and Pessoir, but I just think Shaq and Pessoir is on another level to Put the Kettle On. Although I do admire the connections for going for this race. Obviously, they'll have the mares chase in future years, and I imagine, obviously, if she runs respectively here, I imagine she'll be the early anti-post favourite maybe for next year's renewal of it. She's a thoroughly admirable mare, but I think Shaq and Pessoir is just at the moment operating on another level to everything else.
I actually put that to Henry. I thought if she turned up and the mares chase, it was easy prize money. Like, she would take all the beating, like, but she would carry a grade 1 penalty. But it's you have to admire
other ideas.
Yeah, fair play to him. Give it.
Henry had other ideas.
Yeah, that's it. Like, and Connect, like the owners were keen to go here. Like, so fair play to them for trying it. Like, by all means, like on paper, it looks like Shaq and Pessoir, but they obviously feel confident. So I think at 14, yeah, she is good value. Like.
Henry gave us a stat about Put Cattle On. I can't remember if either you. I can't remember, but can either of you remember? He said something about Arkle winners going to the champion chase.
Yeah,
and he said that's what was persuading him to go there.
The stat for Arkle winners going to the champion chase the year after is very, very good. Like, and that's what made him go with one a couple of years back, and that's the same kind of deciding factor here.
Yeah, he went with size in Europe last time. That's
size in Europe, yeah.
Yeah. What about First Low? Does First Low have a chance here?
He's a bit of a weird one. It wasn't until his most recent run where he seemed to need to go the other way round and needed somewhat soft ground. I still think those are his optimum conditions. Obviously, he put in a career best by some margin last time out. Is he going to necessarily repeat that maybe not, but I think him and Politolog might have another decent duel up front again. I'd probably take Politolog to come out on top of this time. I just think Cheltenham may be more his track than it is First Flow's. Either of those two going to be good enough this year? Obviously, Politolog won what was a way below par renewal last time around. I can see him hanging on at doing a decent race. He's been an admirable servant through the years for the connections, but I think they might just be running into a bit of a hot race this time, and maybe like they might take each other on a while. They might even set up for like a Nuba Negra to run on into a place. Obviously, the Skeltons are quite bullish about him. Obviously, they haven't run him at Cheltenham before, but they seem quite keen that he's strengthened up, markedly more able to handle the test that he presents this year. And obviously, he beat Altior when seen earlier in the season. So maybe he's another one that can fill the frame. But yeah, this is if Shaka Puswa gets there, and just please let him get there, obviously, because he's not always been the most straightforward. But this year, obviously, he's had a fair few runs, so maybe he's put that behind him. But let's just hope he gets there and makes this a bit of puts on a decent performance.
Just on the Skeletons, they were confident about their chances this year. What do they have that can actually win a race Cheltenham this year?
The Skeletons get quite bullish a lot of the time, don't they?
Yeah.
There's something they'll have something for the county, won't they? They generally have something for that. The one I think a decent one is Prashima. If he can get in, he's looked like he's had a handicap in him. But outside of that, well, they've got Roxana for the mares.
There, like, you know, she could probably be their main hope going there.
Probably is on price, I'd say, at the moment.
Because if they think they have a chance with All Mankind, they're a bit deluded.
I don't think he'll place in the top three. Like
if Franco de Port goes, I would agree with you, and I would say that Franco de Port gets top three. But like I said earlier, I want Franco de Port to go to Mars.
Yeah.
Yeah, here's me causing more controversy. We're gonna go a little cross country, and I think that's pretty straightforward, easy slant, all day long. For me, anyway, said it last year, saying it again this year. Probably will go very close in this year's Grand National too. Tiger Roll's completely finished, and probably won't even see Tiger Roll ever race again after this. If Tiger Roll even shows up.
That's a big one. I was against Easy's Land last year. I was Tiger Roll, but obviously Easy's Land blew them out of the park and whatever. No, he definitely looks like JP's new king of the cross country horse. Tiger Roll, I don't know. I still think O'Leary's playing tricks with a handicapper, trying to get him down to win that third Grand National. I wouldn't be surprised to see him pulled up or run poorly here again. But Easy's Land. Some Neck was impressive enough on one on there in November, I think it was. But like the jockey went all out that day and got himself a nice hefty band for really going all out to win that day. So, but I think Easy's Land, yeah. I'd agree with you, Ryan, for once.
Alan?
I'm going to go for Some Neck. We actually put up a lot of John McConnell's horses when we were looking at Dundalk previews. But I was impressed with this. Ben Harvey gave it a great read the last day over the course and distance. Look, it might not get close enough to Easy's Land to put in that much of a challenge, but I still think each way 16, 18 to 1 course and distance winner, I'd be happy enough with a small each way maybe.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with that, to be fair. Not many win around the cross-country course at Cheltenham on their first time, so I think that was an impressive effort. And for me, there's doubts about, obviously, the top of the market is littered with concerns. I mean, you're talking about Easy's Land as a banker. I mean, his preparation's been dreadful this year. Obviously, he was terrible earlier in the season at Cheltenham. We haven't seen him since. He missed an intended prep run with issues. I mean, I can't be confident about him at 13 to 8, 6 to 4. And David Cotin's bringing Ajas over as well from France. He's now the second favourite. So we've got Unicatat, another French raider coming over. Potter's Corner's been woefully out of form this year. Looks main target is the Grand National. Tiger Roll, where's he? There's just so many unknowns or question marks for me at the top of that market. Whereas I think Some Neck is a decent, solid each-way proposition. You can still get 20, 25 to 1 for a winner at the Cheltenham Cross Country course. Is he of the quality that Easy's Land might be? Absolutely not. But he's got that course experience now, and I think he's a more than fair each way proposition at a decent price.
Yeah, that's fair. Right, we'll move on to the Grand Annual. Grand Annual, I am fancying Iblio. 16-1. Nisha Williams again, I'm going for. Absolutely blew me away last two starts. And Charlie Deutsch gave Iblio an absolute peach last time. I was blown away with it. And Iblio did come second to Sky Pirates at Cheltenham, I think it was, in December. So, look, I think Iblio's going to win this at 16-1. I think it's an absolute massive price. And if Charlie Deutsch gives any sort of a ride like he did last time with Doncaster, it's game over.
I like A Wave of a Sea, but I see the Shunter's got an entry in that race too. But I can't see. I would say they'll go for a hurdle race with him. A Wave of a Sea's in there with 14-1. Was but out of form until was shocked one the last day at Leopardstown. But it wouldn't be like a JP horse to come good before the big festival. Like, last year he had a couple of really, really good days, where everything kind of fell right for him. He's in a nice price. I haven't looked much into the race, to be fair, because we're still only in the early stages. But yeah, I'm at 14-1. Should do me.
Early stages. How much more racing do you want to see?
No, well, I mean, I'm on about like this far out from the declarations, like
Right,
what's
that's
going
fair.
on now. I want to see him have 5
Dan.
months.
Yeah, this is a tough one. I think JP's got a fair few entered. Obviously, Way with the Sea being one, Aramax another. Maybe the one I think probably got the better chances in Tukas. Shaped with plenty of encouragement this season. Obviously, second 3 times, and then ran well in some decent handicaps. I like the fact that he's running decent handicaps this season. I think novices generally can struggle when they come straight out of novice company into a handicap like the Grand Annual, which is often frenetically run, and especially now it's on the old course rather than new. That's going to put even more of a premium on pace and ability to handle a big field handicap, and it might even make being prominent or handy more important than ever in this race. Obviously, you can get carnage in behind in this race, and getting out the way of that on the sharper old course is probably going to be beneficial. The one at a bigger price, so I keep coming back to, maybe because I've just got this unhealthy obsession with him at this stage, is Bundoran. I see he's entered in this now. He's entered in the Champion Chase as well. He was second in this race back in 2019 off a £2 lower mark. We know that returning runners in the Grand Annual will tend to do quite well. He's been well beaten in all 3 starts this term, but that's why his mark's been coming down. You don't have to go back all that far for his Desert Orchid win in a Grade 2. He absolutely loves Cheltenham, this horse. He performs their best. He's been kept fresh, and he did shape all right in the Peterborough Chase 2 starts ago over a trip too far. He was still bang there 2 out, just faded late on. I think this is the race for him. He tends to go quite handy in his races. Maybe if they stick a claimer on him as well, I think that'll help his chances. And he's one I can see going off quite a big price. He's 33-1 now, but I think on the day, if you get some enhanced place terms, maybe 40-1, I think he'd give you a decent run for your money.
Alan.
Yeah, I'd agree with Dan just on Tukas. Like he's been in my notebook for a while. The Shunter as well. Like we're all talking about the Shunter being entered up in a lot of places. Like he's due to take advantage of a hurdle mark. He ran a nice race the last day. It just wouldn't surprise me if they ended up in the likes of the Grand Annual. Look, again, we're going to have to learn a lot more closer to the time, and I'd say they'd be 2 probably in Tukas and the Shunter. Just keep a close eye on maybe where to go.
Yep. Dan, actually, Bundoran came third in the Champion Chase last year, didn't
he? Did, yeah. What you make of that? Obviously, that Champion Chase is 5 runners. Defi Desoy bombed out, so I wouldn't be taking massive stock in that. But he look at his course form around Cheltenham. Like it's been solid throughout the years. He absolutely loves the place. If he's got one last big run in him, obviously he's 10 years old now. He's been around the block, but veterans can win this. Croco Bay one is a 12-year-old. I wouldn't put a big run beyond him.
That's fair. Look, we'll move on to the champion bumper. I'm going to cause some more controversy here, I know I am. Kilcrut and Sir Gerhard don't win for me. For me, I am sticking with what I said would win from the first time I seen him. Hollow Games at 16-1. I am sitting pretty with 33s. And yeah, look, he's owned by the Morans. They came third in this last year. Last year, Appreciated was the favourite, well back favourite, and came second to Fernie Hollow, who was, I think, 11-1 or something like that, 12-1. And yeah, Hollow Games was so impressive. Bet the Banger Dial by 7 lengths on debut. Then went and bet Eurotiep by 1.5 lengths, I think it was, then second time. So still unbeaten. Still has to find something to beat him. And yeah, for me, Hollow Games 16-1 value.
Well, that's a very bold statement, Mr. Sharkey, saying that Kilcrut or Sir Gerhard would won.
I'll actually say something even more bold. Supreme Hurdle 2022, Cheltenham Preview 2022, here we come. Hollow Games.
Get your Hollow Games Supreme Bob Olinger Arkle doubles in early.
Yeah,
the golden.
Here we go.
But anyway, I always have liked Sir Gerhard from the start, from kind of hearing about him in point-to-point scene, kind of thought, right, going connections. Obviously, they're going to go the Envoy Allen, the next big thing, kind of thing. And then Kilcrut here, and Tony Mullins talk about Kilcrut, sorry, I know they keep saying there's a pronunciation for it. But hearing him talk about Kilcrut, the time he was beaten, everybody was questioning there after his Leopardstown one, how on earth did Kilcrut get beaten a bumper and Thurles? Tony Mullins says he worked him the week before, where he says this horse doesn't need much work. Like he does everything himself. He's an easy horse to train. He didn't know that at the time. He gave him a hard piece of work the week before, and it was obviously still affecting him. Came out and been impressive since switching to Wally's. The last one was definitely the most impressive. But I don't know. I think I'm going to stick with my original thought in Sir Gerhard.
I'll tell you what. There was a rumor going around about Kilcrut this week saying that Kilcrut had died or whatever, and I did see Tony Mullins comment on one of them, and someone said, "Is Kilcrut dead or something?" And Tony Mullins commented saying, "You mean a dead third?"
You misinterpreted. You misinterpreted that. He says you misinterpreted that. What meant was it was a dead cert.
Yeah. So confidence is extremely high.
It was when he got beat.
I mind watching that preview with Tony Mullins doing that, and he just looks like the type of boy that'll just tell you straight up, get that. Go rob the ATM machine and put the whole lot on, and they're gone. Fill your pockets.
Yeah, he's a great laugh.
What of Dan, Alan? What do you got? Any surprises?
No surprises for me. I'm a massive Sir Gerhard fan. Absolutely thought he was electric and down Royal. Really impressed me at Navan. I think he's the next big thing for Cheveley Park. I think he could be very, very special, this horse.
That's short and sweet.
It's another one I'm on the Sir Gerhard bandwagon as well. Obviously, Kilcrut was very, very impressive last time out, but the race did somewhat fall apart to an extent. And what concerned me more was what Patrick Mullins said about him. I think you alluded to it earlier that he does less work than any of the horses in Willie's yard, and they just struggled to keep condition on him. So that performance last time out, obviously he's going to have to travel over. I just worry that he'll struggle to replicate that Leopardstown run at Cheltenham. He doesn't seem to be. He's a bit of a complicated horse, seemingly, to get absolutely bang there firing. Whereas I think Sir Gerhard has just kind of he's been off. He's going to come in there fresh. And I think if you look at Gordon Elliott's bumper horses this year, there's so many decent ones. Obviously, you've got Hollow Games as well. You've got Three Stripe Life, who's been quite well backed recently. I think he's nearly halved in price from 20s to 12s in the last week or so. I think Gordon has the better string of bumper horses this term, and I think he'll have a fair few in the champion bumper. And for me, Sir Gerhard is an absolute standout. I think there's just so much to like about him. Jamie Codd said he'll love some nicer ground, despite having going on soft and heavy so far. he'd be the one for me. And to be honest, I can see a scenario playing out where Segard becomes quite well-backed favourite for this and Kilcrook drifts out quite markedly. I can see them reversing it in the market come the day.
Yeah, Kilcrook's race kind of fell apart last time, didn't it? It was just kind of handed the race in a way.
It did, yeah. They went hard up front. I mean, it was still,
Yeah.
to do what he did was very impressive. Obviously, Patrick kind of just said he just kind of kept there and he was going the same pace almost the whole way and they backpedaled. But it was great. But yeah, just the concerns about them saying they struggle to keep condition on him, add the travelling into it. I think there'd be enough concerns at this stage for me to be betting at 13-8, 6-4, whereas Gerard, is going to come there fresh and firing.
And the thing about it, Patrick says in his interview straight after the race, where Wally told him that he was on, the wrong horse. He wanted him to ride Rameles or the other horse. Obviously tells you a lot too. Given homework is obviously not great, but what he's done on the track so far has been impressive. But I don't know. I'm definitely sticking with Mr. Gerhard. Like I says it from the start, and I just think he's gonna, as Dan says, he will be market leader. I think on the day.
Yeah, I'm still sticking with all games. Like, still unbeaten. Look, nothing's come close really. Urtiap's the only one that came anywhere close to him, but he's still strong enough to beat him. So I think
he's a proper stayer at Hollow Games, isn't he? He's a proper stayer in the making. Yeah, which isn't a bad thing. Obviously, Queensbrook was kind of similar mould last year, and she ran a cracker. Yeah, I can see Hollow Games. It'll be interesting to see which ones from Gordon's go because he has plenty to choose from. So it'll be interesting to see what he runs and the jockey bookings.
Yeah, that's also an interesting point because he probably won't run as many as he maybe wanted to now with amateur jockeys not being able to go over because that'll cut down on what he can use whenever he can use them for Punchestown Festival and the Ferry House Festivals coming up straight after. So I think it'll take a few of his away.
Well, he can't use his main bumper jockey, Jamie God.
Yeah. He also uses his couple, that young lad there now, Jordan Gainsford. He's a conditional or something as well. Like there's quite a few that he probably can't use now. Like so, it'll be interesting.
Yep. That everything, lads? Have we covered everything?
Yep. I think so. Have you any more controversy for us?
Controversy.
Have you any more?
I'm sure I have.
Who wins the Champion Bumper 2022 and the 2022 1,000 Guineas round?
2022 Guineas will be won by Should Have Been More.
I hope so. I hope so.
Back it now. You'll probably get 1,000 to win.
Worth a fiver.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Be sure to subscribe, hit up Dan's Twitter, and cheers.